All right, folks, now it's time to have some fun. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take Paul and Linda and we're going to calculate how much in total Social Security benefits they will get over both of their lifetimes. Not just one scenario, though. We're going to take three different scenarios. Number one is, what if they both file at age 62 as early as possible? What's the total amount of Social Security they get over both their lifetimes? Then we're going to compare that to the opposite side of the spectrum. What if they delay as long as possible and take their benefits at age 70? How much does that add up to over both of their lifetimes? Is that the optimal strategy? The answer to that question is age 70, it's not the optimal strategy in our scenario. Age 62, in this scenario, it's not the optimal strategy. So then what we do is we figure, what is the optimal strategy? That's where my software came into play, and it said, all right, all these different combinations. You have Paul's filing ages. You have Linda's filing ages. All these different combinations. Which one is the best combination that, based off our projections, will give them the most Social Security benefits over both of their lifetimes? And that's what I want to show you here. Simplified. This is very simplified now. We talked about a lot of stuff over the 75-minute presentation. We talked about, need some water, I'm getting a little hoarse here. We talked about primary insurance amount, full retirement age, spousal benefits, spousal survivor benefits. We talked about Social Security taxation. Yes, up to 85% of your Social Security can be taxed. Social Security is about so much more than just Social Security. What do I mean by that? Those other assets that you're taking income from while you're on Social Security, that can add to your Social Security tax bill. And in the end, all of these calculations, I don't care how big your Social Security payment is. I care about how big your net Social Security payment is. So in short, all that taxation stuff and all that, we're not going to take that into consideration in these three examples that I'm about to show you, but just know that your actual retirement income plan, and you can get on my calendar to get your retirement income plan, your Social Security optimization strategy, yours is a lot more involved than what we have here with Paul and Linda. We're keeping Paul and Linda simple. No other assets. We're just looking at Social Security, and we're assuming that we have a 0% inflation rate between now and the next 30 years or so. What does that have to do with anything? Cost of living adjustments, which, as we spoke about, your Social Security is typically adjusted upwards for inflation. I don't want to incorporate that stuff because that just throws the numbers off and it turns into a big calculus formula here for you fine folks. So let's simplify it. Let's calculate how much they're going to get over both their lifetimes. Here we have Paul. Paul is age 62. Why is he age 62? Well, because he was born in 1961 and the year is 2023. That makes him 62. Now, when I see that he was born in 1961 as a Social Security planner, so to speak, I think, what's his full retirement age? So I go back to those charts, the full retirement age charts. Because he was born in 1960 or later, his full retirement age is 67. What about Linda? Again, she was born in 1960 or later. That means that her full retirement age is 67. We have Linda living until age 89 and Paul living until age 86. And because Paul is 2 years older than Linda, that means that he's going to die 5 years prior to Linda, right? Just remember that. Paul's going to die 5 years prior to Linda because he only lives until age 86. She lives until age 89. He's already got 2 years on her here. All right, so here's the first scenario. They both file at age 62. Well, Paul's primary insurance amount, remember, that is the full Social Security benefit should he file at age 67. His primary insurance amount is $2,400 per month. 67 years is his full retirement age, but he's not going to file at 67. He's going to file at age 62. What does that mean? It means that he has a 30%, comes out to 30%, a 30% reduction that's going to last forever on his Social Security benefits. That comes out to be $1,680 per month. What about Linda? You know, Linda is probably a bit reminiscent, so to speak, of my wife. You know, you have me and my wife. You have Paul and Linda. What do I mean by that? My wife, when we graduated from college, she raised two kids. She stayed at home with the kids. We were fortunate enough in that I had a good job immediately out of college, had a good 25-year career so far, traveling the world. Well, I did that. She stayed at home and raised two kids. Who had the tough job, by the way? Not me. I had a lot of fun over that 25 years. She had the tough job. Raising two kids ain't no joke, right? Well, the Social Security Administration has spousal benefits that we'll talk about here in a bit that recognize that the spouse that has not earned a whole lot of money and therefore does not have a very large primary insurance amount, maybe that spouse deserves a little more. And that is what spousal benefits are. So with that as kind of a primer, here is Linda, based off of her earnings record. She didn't make much money, so her primary insurance amount is only $900 per month. Well, when she files at age 62, her benefit is going to be $852. Now, for those of you, the mathematicians, so to speak, that are watching this, you may be thinking, but that's not much of a reduction. That's only, what, $48 reduction from the $900 to $852, to where Paul over on the other side, that was a $720 reduction, a 30% reduction. Why wasn't hers reduced anymore? Because, folks, it's not about her $900. It's about her $1,200. What am I referring to? Spousal benefits that I just alluded to. The Social Security Administration says that if she is not able to get, based off her own earnings record, at least 50% of what her spouse's benefit is, then she is going to get 50% of her spouse's benefit. Assuming that Paul has already filed. Paul, again, has to file for his benefit in order for Linda to have that spousal benefit. So in other words, it's not about Linda's $900. It's about her $1,200 in spousal benefits that the reduction goes off of, right? So, now you're looking at a pretty sizable reduction, $348 or so reduction from $1,200. That's pretty significant. But long story short, you add all these benefits up over both of their lifetimes, all the way until Linda passes away at age 89, you have $809,568. Well, how does that compare to if they otherwise filed for Social Security at age 70? Well, again, Paul's primary insurance amount doesn't change. That's his age 67 benefit. But he's not going to take his benefit at 67. He's going to wait 3 years and get those 8% per year delayed retirement credits. What does that mean? 8% per year times 3. It means he's going to get 24% more in benefits because I hope that number is right. I know it's 24%, but I hope that $2,976 is indeed 24% more than $2,400. I hope I did that math right. But $2,976 should be 24% more than $2,400 because he waited until age 70. Well, you go over here, and what about Linda? So Linda waits until age 70, and Linda, when she files at 70, the big, bold, black letters there, she's going to get $1,200 per month. Now, some of you may be looking at the screen here thinking, wait, there's something missing here, though. Only $1,200 per month. She waited 3 years past her full retirement age. Why is she only getting $1,200? Doesn't she get delayed retirement credits from that $1,200? What's that 24% you're talking about, Charlie? Delayed retirement credits do not apply to spousal benefits. Let me repeat, there are no brownie points when it comes to spousal benefits and delaying past full retirement age. Folks, this is the number one mistake that I see with couples. Whether they've already done it or are about to make this mistake, I see this all the time with couples. Oh yeah, well, I'm going to delay until age 70. Well, but aren't you going to be on the spousal benefits? Oh yeah, because he or she makes more than double I do, or is going to have more than double my Social Security benefit. It'll be spousal benefits. Then you should not wait until you should not delay past your full retirement age, because you do not get brownie points for delaying past full retirement age, at least when it comes to spousal benefits. In other words, what has she done here? She's left 3 years of Social Security payments on the table. If she filed at age 67, she would have gotten close to $1,200. Now, why wouldn't it be $1,200? We'll get to that. But she would have gotten, let's just call it, a good amount of money, age 67, age 68, age 69, and so forth, till age 70. She left 3 years of money on the table because that 3 years did nothing for her to increase her $1,200 from above $1,200. And I'll get to that point I made earlier that may have confused you. Technically won't be $1,200, but we'll get to that. What does all this add up to over both of their lifetimes? Better, $951,552. So Paul takes his roughly $3,000 per month. She takes her $1,200 per month. Paul passes away 5 years before she does. She inherits effectively inherits Paul's Social Security payment. Hers goes away, but she inherits a greater of the two. She passes away at age 89. Add all of that stuff up, it's $951,552. So my little computer software, which again, that's the retirement income plan, we take all these combinations, and is age 62 optimal? Well, obviously it's not. Is filing at age 70 optimal? The program says it's not. The program says that the optimal time for each of them to file is this. So again, Paul's $2,400 primary insurance amount, he's going to delay until age 70. So he's going to get that roughly $3,000 per year. What about Linda over here? Well, she's going to file at her full retirement age. So no more leaving 3 years of money on the table here, right? She's going to file at her full retirement age. And remember how I said it technically won't be $1,200? In that first year, it's only going to be $900. But Charlie, why is that? $900? I thought you've been talking about $1,200, half of Paul's the whole time. Remember, Paul has to file for his Social Security benefit in order for Linda to piggyback on his Social Security benefit via the spousal benefits. Paul hasn't filed yet. Paul doesn't file for another year because when she's 67, he's only 69. So she gets the benefits based off of her earnings record, so her actual benefit of $900. But check this out. A year goes by, Paul files for his benefit, and boom, miraculously, Linda gets a $300 bump up to $1,200 for her benefit. And this is the optimal strategy. You add all that up over both their lifetimes, we are closer to $1 million here. This is the optimal strategy. Folks, that Linda did earlier was a flat out mistake, right? When it comes to Social Security, I get responses a lot like, oh, I don't need to plan for Social Security. It's not going to be around after 2034. It's going to be around, folks. It may change its shape and form a little bit. Social Security planning is very important, whether it's 2050 or the year 2023. But the second thing I hear is oh, all this Social Security optimization stuff, it's a crapshoot based off of how old you live to be, and nobody knows when you're going to die. It's just a crapshoot. Well, we can argue about, I would argue that people have a good idea if they're going to live to life expectancy or not, but set that aside. There are rights and wrongs to do with Social Security. Whether Linda lived until 75 or 100, she left money on the table by not understanding in the previous example that she was leaving 3 years of money on the table. And that is just one of dozens and dozens of examples when it comes to filing for Social Security that I can cite, right? There are rights and wrongs with Social Security and things that are a little more blurry, so to speak, like, well, we're projecting you're going to live this age and that age. There are rights and wrongs, and there are the blurry things. What Linda did earlier was incorrect. I'll put it that way to be a little more diplomatic. She left money on the table. So here's what we did here. If they both filed at 62, they're only getting $810,000 roughly over their lifetime. That is leaving $181,000 on the table. What if they both filed at age 70? What happened here? Linda, over on the right-hand side, that 3 years, she left almost $40,000 on the table. almost $40,000. That's at 3 years that she thought she was getting delayed retirement credits. What's the optimal strategy? Well, down below to where we get almost $1 million. And that's without including inflation. The cost of living adjustments would put us well into the 7 figures, but we're keeping this simple here. So that is what we did there. Now, here's what else we did. We've gotten them more money. Where I come from, more money is better than less money. But number 2, potentially reduced required minimum distributions. Now, technically, Paul and Linda's RMDs are at age 75. Many of you know what required distributions are. The pre-tax money that you have where you haven't been taxed on yet, the government eventually says, yeah, you got to start withdrawing from that. We want our tax money. Well, as you can see here, no, as you can't see here, technically with recent legislation, their required minimum distribution age starts at 75. But what do we mean? How could they have potentially reduced that? Because when you think about it, by delaying Social Security later, you are probably, what Paul and Linda is doing, is they're spending down more of their pre-tax assets in those bridge years from 65 to 70, for example. They're spending down those pre-tax assets because they don't have Social Security coming in. But what does that mean? It means a couple things. Number one is maybe they're paying taxes in a low tax rate environment, which is today. I would argue tax rates are on sale. They're scheduled to be much higher in the year 2026, at least with estate taxes, but I would argue other taxes are going to increase in 2026. And what that also means is because they've spun down a good chunk of their pre-tax assets today, once required minimum distribution age comes around, they are less subject to the requirements of the government. I prefer to do things on my own terms. I don't like government requirements. By doing what we just did with Paul and Linda, basically delaying until 70, at least for Paul, less reliance on, less expectations that the government's going to force you to do something there, right? And then that potentially results in less taxation on the Social Security benefits collected. What do we mean by that? Well, anytime you have a high Social Security payment relative to a low Social Security payment, you're less reliant on those other assets to withdraw from those other assets that can increase your Social Security taxation. So that's what else, our system on an after-tax standpoint can calculate for you. Well, you have all these other assets here, and based off if you delay, maybe you're less reliant in the later years on those other assets. It tells you what the optimal Social Security filing age is on an after-tax net basis, which makes what we just did look like nothing, look like elementary work, right? But that is what that retirement income plan is for, and allow me to deal with the complications, and I just give you the report when it's said and done.